नमस्कार जी, अजय अजय सिंह जी।
नमस्ते सर।
गुड टू हैव यू।
आज बहुत कुछ सीखने को मिलने वाला है।
पता नहीं है, सबको साथ इकट्ठा करने की कोशिश में है।
हाँ। शक्ति जी नमस्कार बैंगलोर से।
नमस्कार नमस्कार बड़ौदा से।
निकी नमस्ते। निकी यू आर देयर?
Yes, yes. Namaste, Ajay ji. Namaste, Raval ji.
Nikki, I think we have a railway connection also.
How was that?
Sadashivam,
Oh, yes, of course.
he was my colleague in railway factory.
Oh, really? Okay.
Other day Neeraj told me that, Nikki, yeah, I told, yeah, we keep banging our head together very often.
Lovely, lovely.
नमस्कार राहुल जी। नमस्कार अजय।
नमस्कार नमस्कार सर।
नमस्ते सर।
नमस्कार।
कैसे रहा आपका ब्रेक? ऑल वेल? फ्रॉम समथिंग
Yeah,
टू 59 डिग्री टू समथिंग एल्स एंड नाउ बैक टू 40 डिग्रीज। नमस्कार शक्ति भाई।
वक्त मौसम हवा का रुख जाना,
नमस्कार नमस्कार।
कौन जाने कब बदल जाए।
Absolutely. You have one for every season. You have one song or one line for every season and time.
नमस्कार प्रोफेसर वासंती जी।
नमस्कार।
She's a microbiologist. She retired
Oh,
and a very senior person in the field of microbiology. नमस्कार जी, नमस्कार।
Hey, Tarun,
wonderful to have.
great to see you.
Nice to
Hey,
see you,
Tarun.
sir.
Good to have. Wonderful to have senior professionals. Namaskar, Tarun. How are you? Nice to
Hi,
see
very,
you
very
here.
good. Yeah, Namaskar. Yeah, hi.
This is your domain,
Yeah.
in some ways, and I'm sure you will engage. Today we also have Satish Chandra after a long time.
Hello. Hello, sir. Nice to see you.
Namaskar.
And
Namaskar, Satish.
Tarun also. Yeah, thank you.
And Rahulji, we have also an architect from Singapore who just joined called Leong Tat. And there he is. Good evening to you, Leong. Nice to see you once again.
Hi, nice
And
to see you.
And Ravji, I said a few things, and at the end of this meeting, while he will strongly interact in the group in the discussions, I have requested. He has given consent to being added to this very whatever group of people that we are, and told him a little about the WOW Leaders Group. So let us see how he will impart some energy and dynamics as we go along. Hugely committed man, very passionate about what he does, and he walks the talk, as he says, on many things in life. And to you, Leong, I will take only 1 minute to tell you that these are people, not a single person here has spent any less than 15 years of dedicated time on water, right? Shakti Bhai, for instance, is from Vadodara, which is in Gujarat. You know India reasonably well, so I don't have to explain where what is. Ravalji is from Surat, which is another city toward the coast in Gujarat. Then Tarun is from Bangalore, and he works on anaerobic systems for for wastewater. He has a fantastic set of things. He will talk about it. Ajay Singh is known as the rail waterman and has worked with the Indian Railways, which carries one Australia every day, right? You know how big this country is. Carries about 25 million people a day, and you know the sanitation challenge. He has worked on some magnificent challenges of that kind. Then we have Dr. Vasanti Kachi, who has joined us today. She's in that realm of microbiology and science of water and so on, genomics and so on. And she is here at the behest of Dr. Dr. Raval.
Professor Dr. Donde introduced me to her.
Nice, very nice.
Earlier we had few sessions also. We talked.
And yes. And therefore, Leon, you will get to understanding more of them as they join. Very, very, very elitist, very special group this is. Apurva, for instance, here, Apurva Shah is from Ahmedabad, and he has done Very, very wonderful work on water at the frontier of wastewater treatment. Okay. Rahulji, I will leave it to you and Nirvikalpa. Thank you so much for curating this idea. I think Nikki should, if I may request him, to see if you want to add some few lines. I can't actually change whatever. You do it, Nikki. Over to you.
Um, sure, I can do that. But I mean, uh, okay. So basically, this has been a conversation between Ravalji and I over the last few weeks. Um, After 5 years of WoW, like we are trying to see how this session can be the first of an ongoing series, maybe a 10 or 12 part series that we would like to have uh, outside of this main WoW session. This is the first of the session. The next sessions we can decide collectively now, uh, whichever the other day which is convenient for everyone, where we can have a continuous series of which is a 10 part or 12 part series that Ravalji will be leading with everybody, as a you know uh, as a with everybody collectively. Having said that, I mean, while we will have other speakers and like other things, this particular session or these sessions, these next 10, 12 sessions, let us not be impatient in finding, answers to, like pat answers to questions. Let us explore the question of sewage and the science of sewage, collectively. Um, uh, Eventually we will come to some answers in another setting, and which we will present as a collective finding on the main session above. That's all I'm going to say. Ravalji, if you have anything to add, I will start sharing the screen.
World over, we are listening to various problems on water bankruptcy and health and repeated pandemics and economic and all that. And our water bodies, environment, and land resources are degrading. I personally believe that this is all due to lack of proper understanding of sewage management. Because sewage is not something like an astronaut. It is for 8 billion plus people, 365 days, demanding huge resources. And we all talk about funding, but sewage is a natural science and it needs understanding, not funding. No amount of funding will ever solve the problem for 8 billion if we are on a wrong path. Now, coming to some introduction, nature is regenerative. Life originated from gases, carbon dioxide, ammonia, sulfur dioxide, nitrogen oxides, methane. And on degradation, the organic matter must give back all the gases for the new cycle to start. Nature is not linear. So, I have seen so many people talking about various ways of going about, but organic chapter is all about chemistry. And in chemistry, we come across catalysts. Now, catalysts are not biological in nature. Catalyst can make a reaction, possible reaction happen, maybe after an hour or a year or a decade or a millennium. But that's not the way at which life goes. So, is the evolution of life, rather origin, it happened, certain reactions needed speeding up. Trillion times catalyst can influence reaction. Please remember trillion times, not 10 times, 100 times, or 1,000 times. Now, that was possible only with enzymes, not with catalysts. Catalysts are abiotic influencing agents. Enzymes are biotic. And therefore, the term bioenzyme has no place. Enzyme is a biological produce. So, Hariji and I were talking a week ago, and he framed our talk between 5 W's and one how, one H. That triggered my gears, Now, sewage management has so many spokes. Sewage management, as I understand, forms the axle of civilization, and on the periphery we have social acceptance, and we need civil engineering and scientists from various disciplines. But resources demands that all the regenerative system demands that all resources stay within the system. So treating a sewage to obtain everything back, including gases. And the civil engineers, they talk about nutrient recovery, water recovery. Sewage is a water independent science. It does not need, we'll see some of this. I have prepared only 2-3 slides for that. And when we say the resources stay within the system, it means the nutrient value of food is equal to the same of fishes. If we put it in equation, nutrient value of food is equal to that of fishes. And no single person can give all the solutions. So I requested Nikki that now we have been talking for over 5 years nearly. Let's bring all the members together and see what we can achieve collectively. The whole world is in search of it. There is no need to believe that somebody is better than somebody. There are certain misgivings about oxygen and bacteria and aerobic and non-aerobic and anaerobic. These are all, if we rectify or correct our mistakes, any natural path is free, easy, simple, and does not depend on funding. I have submitted few slides to Nikki. Nifi, can you start with, please?
Sorry, just give me 1 minute, please. Can you see my full screen?
Yes,
Yeah,
yes. We can see up to we know.
Yeah. Okay, great.
I'll have to minimize it somewhat. Yeah. So, welcome to a group learning to understand sewage. It started with 5 W's and one H. Now, yes, next, we know all the 5 W's. Now, what, why, where, I will not repeat all that. But last H is a huge blank. Professor Sanjay Deshpande also in his presentation, his 4th or 5th slide, he just ended at wow, how? And there was no deeper look into it. Well, time permitting, it will happen someday. So, how do we address whatever the problem we have? The problem is not water recovery. The problem is not nutrient recovery. The problem is poverty elimination, the SDG goal keep on talking about. Okay, next. Yes. So just hold on. Now, how did it started? From where do we get the understanding of sewage in nature? Now, the introductory flyer explains that nature is a sophisticated energy harvester. Now, we all know that the energy comes from the sun, solar energy. And solar energy is harvested by molecules, some of them chemical molecules, some of them are reactions that lead us to higher organic status from, you can say, from carbon dioxide to apple or food, which is agriculture. And that is aerobic. Life started in anoxic world. The planet was completely devoid of oxygen. Does it mean there were no aerobic organisms? There were. If the organic aerobic reaction had not happened, CO2 would never have given us glucose. Yes, next. So, from apple and almonds to excreta, this is the energy harvesting system. Nature is developed. It is true for amoeba to elephant to human being. Yes. Next. Yes. That colon part I have redrawn here. It's explanatory. Now, the whole colon has evolved over 500 million years to recover water and electrolyte. Try to understand the entire world within this large intestine. Yes, please. So this is where from small intestine, the water, the food and other organic mass enters the colon. And the internal opening I have shown with an arrow on the left. Next. Yes. The water content of the inlet mass is nearly 2 liter, 2000 ml. It varies between 18 to 2000 ml. And the colon as an organ is a peristaltic screw pump. And the mass follows the meandering, takes a meandering path. And it's a very complex system. When we come to mechanics, we'll someday talk about. All we know, or people talk about, is a pressure pump for membrane filtration and all that. That's not what nature is working on. Okay, next. The inlet pH is anywhere between 5.5 to 6.5. I'm only talking pH to explain certain things which will happen ultimately. Yes, next. Yes, on the transfer section, you see 6.2 to 7.2. Next. Yes, there it goes to. This pH zoning without compartmentalization. There are compartments, but they are aqueous. They are organic compartments. And when last is the excreta leaves the colon, it has a pH somewhere between 6 to 7.5. Now, what has pH to do with it? Next.
Ravalji, you have to explain what Runam Kritva is. Sorry.
Sorry?
You have to explain Runam Kritva and Gritam Pibet.
Yes, I'm coming to that. I have put it from the beginning because that is ancient wisdom. Ancient wisdom is not a blind following. There is a deep science behind this Sanskrit phrase. Runam krutva means incur debt rather. Incur debt, but take ghee. And ghee is not butter. It is the next step. But I'll explain it that later. Why it has a solid chemical, biochemical, microbial background behind this proverb. So, in the lower part, the primary fermentation starts. Next, that leads to alcohol. Now, alcohol is the master molecule with which all organic chapter of the planet and the life thereon started with. Yes, next. See, there is a different zone where it is methane formation happens. In that next please, that is secondary fermentation, where amino acids at the top left corner start degrading after the carbon. Carbon molecules undergo degradation, and that makes the primary fermentation. But after the carbon dominant molecules are degraded, then comes the amino acids, which is pure nitrogen dominant. So the next chapter is nitrogen dominant, and you can see N2O. Now, N2O is the most notorious gas, which is 300 times more greenhouse gas potential than carbon dioxide. Now, if we take ghee is all CHO, no nitrogen, no water. Now, that nitrogen-free diet binds nitrogen, excess nitrogen, and does not allow N2O to be formed, or else N2O will enter the blood and all neurological and other medical issues will arise. Next. Next, please. Yes. So when the feces leave the body, the water content is 100 ml. The chapter that why I have prepared this slide, the entire chapter that starts with 2000 ml intake recovers 90 to 95% of water and electrolytes, and only 0.5% is thrown out. And we have evolved a system that per capita 150 to 200, and in advanced countries it is 300 plus liters are used per capita to wash a reject of a system which is working for 500 million years on the water recovery. Ajay Singh ji, you can convert this ratio 100 ml to 200 liters and see what water or anti-colon functions we are doing. The cost comes from the ignorance, not from the complexity of nature. Yes, next please. Yes. Now, all engineering students talk about MLSS and MF ratio. They have gone horribly wrong, that because the MLSS and MF ratio equations do not apply under highly diluted conditions, which all world over, all the urban planning chapters are talking about flushing and water recovery. And they lose trillions of liters of water and billions of kilowatt energy. That's not the way we can achieve anything. A last point in this, Nikki, please. Yes, this is what is debates about. Debate about treating each organic mass on its merits under differential aqueous zones It is not about 1000 mld broken down to two sets of 500 mld or 100 mld 10 sets. That's not debates. There is a huge misconception going on amongst everyone talking about debates. Debates is all about treating the organic mass on their chemical nature, the reaction involved, and the conditions which will allow the microbes to work under particular environment. Yes, next. Yeah, now this is the whole column. You can go ahead straight away. Nikki, please. So this is the septic tank. This how it should go. Yes, the microbes we will take later when we deal with microbes. Today I am doing only the introductory talk as to where we should be careful. Next, please. Yes. Now I started with a catalyst and an enzyme. What is the difference? Catalysts were there on the planet in form of inorganic components. There were no enzymes. Enzymes appeared when a particular genetic machinery evolved and played an important part. Next, please. Yes, this is the only slide I want all the members to understand. I mean, those working on the sewage management, that from left-hand side to right-hand side, we are yeah. So R and R asterisks. These are two amino acids. On one we have carboxyl acid group, and on the other we have NH2, which is amino group. Now, amine is an alcoholic radical, basic, and COOH is an acidic part of the molecule. When two amino acids, R and R dash, come together and react, next please. Yes, yes, that's all. Please stay there. Enzyme 1 system comes into operation. I have taken this slide only to explain that bioenzymes and multi-enzyme systems and proteolases and lipases, people loosely, including those governing bodies and standard norms, they print, like CPCB and EPA and all that. I am going to discuss what and how enzymes function. So, OH from extreme left comes with NH of next amino acid and gives you one NHCO. That is a dipeptide. Now, Ajay Singh ji, think protein as a train of say 100 coaches. In the train or a mechanical system, we have one tool which can dismantle each bogie from the entire train, and it can give you 100 coaches. But a protein molecule with 100 amino acids, I mean dipeptide bonds, will require 100 separate tools, which we call enzymes. And each enzyme will come from a different genetic constitution, different species. So, next, please. Go ahead. Okay. No coloration. Maybe some colors are missing. Okay. Now, in the top upper reaction, NHCOH These are the two ends of an amino acids. Both the amino acids are same in the upper and lower reaction. But H2O on the extreme right comes from the carboxyl and amine group in both the cases. But in lower reaction, if NH2 and COH group position is changed, second set of enzymes comes into function that gives you a different set of dipeptide molecule. And there are thousands of such proteins, and each protein with hundreds of dipeptide bonds. It is so complex. And here each enzyme is species specific. Enzyme 1 will not come from a different microbe other than one particular. And nor and same vice versa for enzyme 2. Acha, both amino acids and end product is H2O. But one enzyme cannot influence other components giving you H2O. Chemical left hand side is equal to right hand side is the easiest way of balancing an equation, but that's not biology. That's the arithmetic. This is all introductory I want to talk about. Now I will be very glad to hear from you and take some questions, if any, along the basics. Thank you, Nikki.
Purva,
Please.
since you have worked with him for a long time, maybe you want to bring in some
No,
insight.
I told Nikki, unless we understand the alphabet of sewage, there is no we can write a thesis. You see, Dr. Donde sent, she, she posted a clipping from NGT and all that, and lipases and proteinases and all that. But it is not one enzyme which will work on all the amino acids or fatty acids. Each group of chemistry is different and its source in form of genetic machinery is different. So unless we understand the genetics, biochemistry, environmental conditions under which these microbes functions, there is no way we can achieve. Yes, we can add on mechanical chapters, technology and engineering and make it more complex. And higher the complexity, lesser the applicability and affordability of a system trying to claim any success on sewage management. I think this will be the shortest talk if no questions coming. Microbiologists have taken microbiology as a public health system. The second chapter is industrial application to increase profit. But the microbes initially played a role in maintaining the planetary homeostasis. And no microbiology chapters talk about the microbes having important role in maintaining the homeostasis of the planet. वासंती जी आप कुछ एनवायरमेंटल रिलेटेड माइक्रोब्स पे प्रकाश डालेंगे तो बड़ी मेहरबानी होगी धन्यवाद
Thank you, sir. Right now, sir, I am working on what we call as intelligence. It started with a book that I am reading where they have traced the history of intelligence in animals, and now they are going to trace the history of intelligence at the molecular level. And there, what comes to my mind is exactly where you started, that when evolution happened, initially there was only carbon dioxide, no oxygen, that only came with photosynthetic organisms which populated the earth at that time. So even before the neural intelligence was born, microbial organisms, even the most ancient ones, they had their own molecular logic. And as we have rightly stated in the flyer, it has taken millions of years of evolution for this logic to become so perfect that right now, as you said, even when we are tracing the treatment of sewage, it has to be a serial action and it has to be specific enzymes which are specific for certain species. So this kind of specificity is not just by chance, it is a design intelligence. So if we can work out at the molecular level why this happens, then as you said, the rest of it is technology and engineering. So exactly what is a microbial composition? How does it vary from place to place? Because every geographical region has a different type of food culture, has a different type of lifestyle, and depending upon that, how does the gut content of of human beings or the organisms that we select for this kind of study, how does it vary? This kind of work, if we can initiate, rather than simply working, of course, I understand technology is very important. We also have time constraint because our resources are running out faster. But at the same time, if something like this can be taken at the macro level, then maybe we'll find the answers that we are seeking as to how we can go about SWP, what kind of culture we should have, what kind of serial changes in the culture should be introduced, and how we can minimize on the environmental resources which are required for SWP. So my view will be to actually analyze the reactions which are occurring and relate them to the sequential occurrence of the reactions and then find out the sequential activities of different microbes. I mean, ultimately, I'm a biologist. I'm not a chemist. I'm not.
Thank you. No, that's right. Every branch is connected here. Hariji, we should be a trendsetter. Only in making one change, that sewage should be talked about in grams and kg and not MLD and KLD. That is the ultimate proof of illiteracy. We are not talking water. Colon does not need it. Colon takes it back. In microbes in our colon are 10 times the number of total cells in our body.
That is true, sir. Microbes are present almost everywhere in our body.
Exactly.
Yeah.
In all conferences talk about MLD and absolutely way out of the line of subject.
We will have to go at the level of molecular logic and which molecules are present in which species and how this serial conversion from what enters into the large intestine and what goes out up to the colon, that is what is required, the serial logic.
Yes, Ajay Singh ji, Apurva, anyone?
Hi, Ravalji, Tarun.
Yes, yes, Karan.
Yeah.
Please, please.
Yeah. I just want to understand the bacteria and enzyme connection. Is bacteria produces enzyme or and then the colon, how does it work? You mentioned CH4, so there's some aerobic digestion, enzymes, anaerobic digestion. So if you can just explain, be grateful.
Okay. To come to aerobic, anaerobic, it is not either or.
Okay, yeah.
Suppose if Hariji donates me some research grant, a donor needs somebody to accept it. Without recipient, there is no donor. And without donor, there is no recipient. So most of the engineering textbooks and methods they talk about either presence of oxygen, therefore aerobic, is a wrong understanding. Because the starting bullet was CO2 in anoxic planet. The first 2 billion years, this planet was without O2. Now, oxygen, when we talk, we usually take it as O2, which is atmospheric oxygen, but it is wrong. Atmospheric oxygen was not there in first 2 billion years. But still the chemistry and reactions and early life of microbes, it continued. So number one, between aerobic and anaerobic. Now, what is a gene and bacteria, or what is? Now, your body, my body, we have proteins and bones and blood and everything. Now, this tissue differentiation is due to different types of organic molecules coming together. Some part of the organic molecule that forms my retina makes my eye retina very delicate. But the same kind of molecules on my nail and all that, they make the collagen, which is very strong. And the lions kills their prey with the nail and all that, or bite. So you have the denture and all that, molars and canines, and they are also biological products. Now, when I was conceived, the DNA in the molecule was same. 50% came from the mother, 50% came from the father. But as the molecular mass increased due to multiplication, same DNA was shared between all the daughter cells. But those cells had a different location. So part of the cells behaved as bones, part of them is neural tube, brain, which we call it later on. But the genetic code is the same. And therefore, any disorder or mutation in a liver cell can convert it into a cancerous growth. Now, cancer is what? Uncontrolled growth. Uncontrolled growth is all aerobic. There is no anaerobic, means killing the system. As my body grows, if my sugar grows, some of my enzymes will destroy the cells or regulate the cells, which will keep on manufacturing glucose. So manufacturing and dismantling is a simultaneous process. It is the dismantling part is called PCD, which is programmed cell death. If my kidney or liver or some part of brain or colon or digestive system outgrows the number and there is no killing, I will develop cancer.
Okay.
So in all, how do these cells control that? They control through the chemical molecular machinery. That machinery is coded in the software, which is genes. Like an engineer draws a drawing. He does not construct a house or an engine or a train or a compressor. He just draws it. So the drawing is software. The manufacturer only follows the drawing. He's not supposed to disturb the drawing. If he something else will happen. And in biology, nobody knows what will happen. So we have started digging lakes, drying it up and constructing dams and digging the hills and all that without knowing what will be the consequences. And please remember, nature never designs. Nature does not design. Nature reacts.
And you mentioned regenerates.
Yeah. Suppose when a body of a cow dies or a dog, it releases gases. Some of
Yes,
them
yes.
are foul gases. Most of it is carbon dioxide and all that. And most of the forests which were buried earlier 200 million years ago, we use them as fossil fuels. But
Correct.
that is methane.
Neither no.
Methane that we build, we use as a fuel, or diesel or petrol, these are biological products which were made 200 million years ago and buried. Now, the point is about climate stability. Now, climate stability is a very complex subject. In that, I, I eat green material, vegetable, which consumes carbon dioxide. But I throw out carbon dioxide when I exhale. Similarly, the garden leaves and trees and animals, when they die, they decay and they release carbon dioxide. But carbon dioxide required by a living system and carbon dioxide released by a living system is a biosphere. Carbon dioxide coming from biosphere. And that package is in balance. What we have done is dug out the carbon dioxide which was buried billions of years ago, or we dig out calcium and phosphorus and all that, we started manufacturing fertilizers.
Correct.
So anything living on the surface is a source and solution for all the components of biosphere. For example, for phosphorus fertilizer, only 6% of phosphorus rocks reach the fertilizer complex. 94% is wasted in transit or process.
Oh,
So that 94% process discharge elsewhere, it is the source of eutrophication. And we talk about climate in the classroom, only keeping a test tube in. That's, you see, it is, we need to change our radius of imagination. 94% of phosphorus added to a system which is not biological. But phosphorus will express itself somewhere because the planet does not know if a phosphate comes from a biological system or other sources. This is about the balance sheet of the planet origin, where we really need to be serious and restrict ourselves and stay focused on the path that will help us. But whatever we talk will not give a solution. It will be scrutinized, and that is where the social selection. Now, Grutam Pibet is a
yeah.
social approval, tested and proven, ready for discharge. And that starts with colon. In all fish eating or flesh eating population have higher colon cancer percentage is because of non-veg diet. And non-veg has more nitrogen, amino acids prominent and less carbon prominent. Now they talk about roughage, carbs. God bless you.
Can I come in?
Please.
See, in simple words, Hariji, what is defined in the WhatsApp WOW group invite, see, we need to differentiate between three things: that sewage is a biological product to be treated on biological principles. Right now, what is happening is civil engineers are treating water as a pipe or a plumbing. Environmental engineers are seeing it differently in the different contexts, that how it flows, or chemical engineers are seeing it differently. But the whole idea is the complexity and the honesty required to understand this is the cell biology. And like what Munibhai has said, that every organic molecule needs different key, different set of microbe and enzyme to degrade it. That fundamental part we are unable to understand. We are just putting like eco STP people or even all STP people, we are producing module 1, module 2, module 3, but the whole science, what is being talked here is the time, is the reaction, is the enzyme production, and all that is a biological process or a microbiological process with chemical reaction. I think so. It is beyond purview of any engineering syllabus because engineers are nowadays not even taught biology. They don't know biology, they only know mathematics or physics or chemistry.
Ajay ji, I learned today, Ajay Singh ji learned biology before going to engineering. I was really very
No,
glad.
or else in nature, nothing is separate. Why we have created this division? This
Tarun, I think
means
in your
the
defense,
curricula or the university finding it a bigger or a wider subject. But we have to now relook it as an holistic approach that everything is together and the bacteriophages or autophages in water or all that part which is disinfectant, pathogen free, solid free sewer, even the different set of basic biological principles, I think so, needs to be understood by all of us, means every human being.
Ajay Singh ji, for your easy consumption.
That's what I mean to say, and that is how we can simplify this sewage science. Otherwise, it is day by day, it is becoming more and more complex, not giving the answer, money is wasted, and I think so, industry's confidence is shattered because we are not meeting people's expectation of treatment. We are rather taking the money from the public and we are not giving the answer or solution what is required in the nature or what how it is functioning. That is what is the basic I have understood in dialoguing with Munibai.
Ajay Singh ji, a
बताइए सर।
spanner which disengaging engine from the coach 1 in a biological system is different between the coach 1 and 2, 2 and 3, 3 and 4, and 99 and 100th coach. Now, that is a tool. But tool is designed on something which is the DNA. And that DNA comes from different organisms which have undergone natural selection over millions of years. Sewage science is, it is, if you recall, Hariji, about 2.5 years, I posted a message. It is easy to send an astronaut on the moon, but not offer a solution for sewage treatment for 8 billion.
can I
All pandemics,
request?
please,
Yes, yes.
please.
No, please. Both pandemic, yes.
You see, how I started widening my search, all pandemics of 3,000 years history, they are urban in origin. There is nothing like rural pandemic. In urban in origin does not mean the roads and flyovers created pandemic or buildings created pandemic. No, it was sewage management. So ultimately, the whole thing was narrowing down to the sewage management. And I realized that that is the least understood area. Yes, Ajay Singh ji, please.
आप साइंस की बात कर रहे हैं, how Poland takes care of handling our food. So आपका जो
Yeah, your
biological
voice
system,
is not clear, Ajay.
it's okay.
Yeah.
Alright, so what I was saying कि जो भी कोलन की बात आपने कही है, this is basically how the whatever we ingest, how that is converted into number one energy, number two molecules, biological molecules build ourselves up. ये मेन जो भी हम इंजेस्ट करते हैं उसका है। नाउ वाटर 2000 लीटर गया और 100 ml गया, उसकी जो बात कर रहे हैं, इट इज ऑल पार्ट ऑफ योर फूड, कैनॉट वाटर, इट इज जितना हम वाटर इनटेक है अब लास्ट फ्रॉम द फूड व्हाट वी टेक। Now the body has to adjust that, and no, the reduction of water and bring it back is part of the,
Can you
you can
talk
say,
little louder? Can't hear.
Louder and in English, if you don't mind, Ajay, because there are people who don't understand Hindi.
I'm speaking
Yeah,
only in English
great.
only, probably.
Okay.
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 Is it better now?
Yeah, yeah.
Yes, yes. Now it is.
Okay. All right. So what I'm trying to say is, um, sewage basically is a concept which has come post London. It's more to do with conveyance rather than treatment. See, water was introduced for human waste only just to convey it conveniently, and we have kind of tried to do it, kind of evolve systems which say you are treating it. If you see human waste, basically, once it is past our colon and it goes out, the food has done its work, giving energy as well as the molecules which are needed for building up of our body. After it goes up in nature, you're very correctly telling, there is no involvement of water. You see human waste, we are having this toilet system and all. Let's say 5 generations earlier there were no toilets. People were going out and the human waste was directly going to soil, and so called the cycle was completed by whatever bacteria, beetle, and other worms and everything which were there. They were converting it into nutrient which will ultimately kind of grow other bodies, smaller bodies, feed other smaller bodies, and ultimately balance whatever nutrients are there. They will go back to earth, to the soil. That was the cycle. So when you say all these enzymes and everything which are, so basically we are, one thing is I'm confused, when we say treatment, what ultimately we are trying to achieve? See, ultimately, you go as per nature, you should return all the nutrients back to soil. We are not doing that. We are trying to do some hanky panky and push it into water bodies. So there is some fundamental thing broken. उसके बाद हम sewage science की विधि कैसे कर सकते हैं?
Nikki, this was the main aim of Nikki's suggestion to me, that why not start with what is sewage? I said sewage cannot be discussed in 2 hours. One particular session will not be 1 millionth of the time that sewage engineering requires. So he said we can make a series of talks. Now, as you said, what are we trying to achieve? We need to return carbon to carbon. It's not just sewage going to soil. That's about the nutrient. But sewage is a climate-linked science. Sewage will have to return all the carbohydrates as CO2 for nature to take over. And excess carbon can be sequestered. Similarly,
रास्ता वो पानी से होके क्यों जाना चाहिए?
पानी तो हमने डाला ना.
वही मैं बोल रहा हूँ, the
नहीं
whole
नहीं,
basic.
so are we willing to unlearn or argue and saying yes, I am right? I'll tell you, molecular, all that chapters will come subsequently. Amino acid is amine group, NH2. Now, NH2 comes from the body degradation and it goes to aqueous system. It becomes ammonia. If it goes to the soil, it becomes NH4 ammonium. हरी चीज तो मुझे डांटेंगे कि ये केमिस्ट्री की बात क्यों कर रहे हो. मैंने कितनी खाई है अब हरी चीज की मुझे पता है. But I am adamant. We can give up talking sewage. We can give up talking water economy. But if you want to stay focused on the sustainable growth, so-called, which all the urban centers are trumpeting about, sewage is the key. The moment you manage that sewage, your water surplus will increase, your power surplus will increase, your health improvement will begin, and the number of worker hours lost due to ill health, that will be. Now imagine if we can avoid one pandemic.
Muniji,
Can you
can I
imagine the
speak?
gain in economy?
Muniji,
Yes,
can I speak? I am Braj Kishore Jha,
yes,
calling
Yes,
please.
from Ranchi.
lovely to have you, sir. Please.
Yes. So for long, I am discussing all the reading all these things, and I have understood that sewage is created. It was not required, and it only as you have it rightly mentioned that city dweller have created this, and not on city dweller. It is created by the corporates. It is very easily it is possible to collect hygienically collect and utilize the night soil and urine for different purposes, right from chemistry or as a biological use or microbes, and there are thousands of uses, and as per that uses we need to have a material transportation of this and hygienic collection. It is possible, but the corporates to dislodge the system of sustainability, nature sustainability, and to gain the sustainability of corporates, it is being destroyed. That I was trying to just understand what you people are talking, and then I have told. So I am trying my way, different way. Maybe PIL will be required. That manual scavenging act, I am seeing that it is erroneous. So all those things we can discuss separately whenever you feel I am ready. Thank you.
Okay. Okay. Ajay ji, if you Google the origin of the word sewer, it says sea word. It means disposal. Something not wanted here should be going through to the sea. And now we are talking about recovery after 200 years of seaward journey. सवाल ये है कि you want to address a society and bungalows and houses and infrastructure without knowing what a brick is. Every sand grain is part of RCC. But in RCC, if one bag of cement RCC, I pour 1,000 liters, 1 KLD, Harichi, will you get a concrete per one cement bag, which is 50 kg? Come on, bring all the civil engineers, show them the way. Then they will talk about water recovery from concrete. That's not the way we are talking here. Concrete needs water of a particular proportion. That's it. And I will request you all to send even one line question. Nikki will compile it and I will try to answer. And if I don't know, we'll learn together. We are not here to prove somebody superior about the other. No, we have done that all this for 500 years. We have not learned anything.
Anyone else who wants to add any value here? I know Tarun will have some either questions to ask or perspectives to lend. Leon, you have worked on a few things. Do you want to add anything at this stage?
Hi everyone. I'm new here, so maybe I just share my perspective on this issue. My background is a city planner, architect, landscape architect, but slowly I try to call myself a person that try to be a keystone species. Okay. What do I mean by that? My training have been focusing on making sure that I'm efficient as a person to contribute to the progress of a nation or a city. And what do I mean by that is that our current economy model is actually focusing on mainly on economic growth. And if you look at the growth, it have done a lot of harm to our mother nature because we need to extract a lot of stuff from mother nature, being energy, material, food, etc. So I heard just now about the struggle for engineers to understand certain things and now only can focus on certain things that is demanded by the economy. I think that's applied to most professions. So my current focus is if we believe that extractive economy model will not last because fossil fuel is running out soon, a lot of material are depleting. If we believe that the economy model that sustained us for the past 100 years will not last and it start collapsing, surely we need to think about what next. And to me, it is regenerative design that support regenerative economy. Without regenerative economy, we will still have to succumb to the condition of extractive economy model. So for me, when it comes to sewage system that serve the city, it has only one function: to make the city as competitive as possible under the extractive economy model, and therefore it needs to be flushed out soon. There's no patience for the microbes to heal, or rather to recoup whatever that's from the sewer system. We just want to discharge it somewhere else. In Singapore context, it's called a deep tunnel sewage system. Go all the way to the other end, use chemical, a lot of means to treat it. We have no time for the microbes to do their job. But eventually, we'll not have all the chemicals, the energy to do it. And what next? So that is actually my focus now. So I would say sewage is actually a product of extractive economy model. But if you move towards regenerative economy model, as what Mr. Ajay Singh mentioned, I totally agree that actually whatever that we have produced from our body is actually a soil in the making in nature. And the challenge now is that under the current city condition economy model, we don't have time for it because it's simply not being allowed. But I think as professional, as an expert in this Zoom forum, we have the duty to say we have to start thinking and start designing for the transition. Okay, so that's my feedback this round.
Leon, when you say, in your city, they don't have the time and so they pump chemicals, can you explain what they do as such infusion of chemicals? And what is the scale? Is
Okay,
that bringing any harm at the living species level at Geelong or wherever else, or what are they
not
doing?
really. I'm just saying that most of the cities, including Singapore, when it comes to sewage matter, first it's about the health issue. Okay. Then what we have done is to make sure that our pipings are tight and all the sewage will be channeled to one end of our country, and we treat it there. And water then all the sewage water will then turn into a new water. But it is at the expense of high energy usage, as well as a lot of chemical usage that in a way chemical components also require fossil fuel to produce them. So I'm just saying that as a system, as a machine, it is very efficient, serving our world now because it's hygienic from a human perspective, because we don't have to deal with the microbes. But however, this system, it will not last unless there's a unlimited abundance of cheap energy in the coming centuries. Otherwise, we really have to look at the bigger issue on how do we maintain the system. I'm not just talking about Singapore, I'm just talking about even, say, in New Delhi, Hyderabad, and all that. A lot of systems in the city now are efficient. It can be very efficient, but most of the cities are using system that depends on fossil fuel or other forms of energy. It doesn't depend on nature to sustain it. It depends on fossil fuel, chemical, a lot of stuff to sustain the machine. So right now, most of the successful city, if you look at it, is the most efficient machines that you can get. So Singapore is being one of the most successful city because we are optimizing, resources to run our city in the most effective manner. So we are very successful. But as a person living in such a successful machine environment, I would say I'm concerned with whether this machine can be sustained perpetually. because as I shared last week in New Delhi, we are running out of fossil fuel. Okay, so I just say that from my perspective, sewage issue to a lot of advanced country now is not an issue because we are using machine energy to address the issue. Okay, but once the machine cannot be run because of a lack of energy, we still have to go back to nature.
Okay.
I think
just a minute, Hariji. Mr. Leong, what is per capita global acreage for Singapore?
Global acreage?
they are 700 square kilometers. They are about 5 million people, Rauji.
Yeah,
Per
6.5
capita, I'm
million.
talking. They are the highest in the world.
They will be, 5 million at 700 square kilometers. They are not, they can't be.
I think Hong Kong is higher.
Sorry.
Let me
Sorry,
explain.
Leong, you should answer that.
Let us dialogue for a while. Global acreage is water and land together, the total periphery, surface of the planet together. Per capita, Singapore is 10.4 global acre. That is the highest in the world. And that is for a nation which has the smallest of land area. Do you think it is sustainable?
I would say if you just look at the global population of 8 billion, start from there first. Will it be sustainable? I would say it depends on how we live our life. How, last time people consume much less. A king in France, say 300 years ago, he couldn't afford a flight, from New Delhi to Singapore because there's no such energy available. So we are all now living almost like a king. If we compare our current lifestyle with the king of France 300 years ago, the things that we eat, the lifestyle that we are enjoying. So I would say that human right now, most of us, just don't limit ourselves to which country. In general, 8 billion population, a lot of us are living like king or even better than king and queens, simply because we are able to extract so much from Mother Earth in such a short time. Okay, and we have the machineries to do so, and we have the equipments to allow us to enjoy life that hopefully, or not really hopefully, I think that it will not last because the way we live, it will not sustain us. However, if all of us live within the planetary boundary, I would say we still have a chance. But to do that, we need to start thinking about the transition because the current city will not allow us to live in a sustainable manner because we are now living within machines and machines require energy. Okay? And we have to feed the machine to allow us to live in a certain condition. Unless we say that we slowly allow ourselves to transit from this current condition to a new paradigm. And I would say that I mentioned to Mr. Hari, I think, or maybe someone else, we don't have to wait for anyone. Spiritually, we can start at our level. Okay? We can start from our level, and spiritually, we feel confidence of being able to live within the planet boundaries system.
Sure.
But as a society, we can't because there's a lot of systemic issue, including sewage issue.
Okay, coming to energy.
Nikki wants to speak.
Yeah,
Let
no,
me
I was
take
just,
energy. I agree with you. Energy is required. But the apple we eat is a food. My body converts food into biological energy. That energy we do not want to understand. And that will be one of the sessions. How apple is converted to ATP, which runs all cellular functions.
Yeah, I agree. To be specific, the energy that I refer to is related to non-renewable fossil fuel. I'm not talking about food. Food, of course, the energy. That's why food energy, to me, is classified under the regenerative economy because we are a regenerative system. Regenerative means that there's a cycle. There's a forces of nature that we need to respect and work with. So when I talk about energy, it's mainly on fossil fuel. Okay, it's not about the food.
Yes, Nikki had raised the
No,
hand.
I was saying, I was just echoing Mr. Jones' this thing of planetary boundaries. This Zoom call itself is a prime example. It's done on data centers that we're all complaining about, and on the amount of heat it's generating, and the amount of water it's consuming, and all of that. And we yet this Zoom call is a very prime example of that, because without those data centers, this call wouldn't have been possible, with people from across the world kind of like joining in. So
I will look
the
at it in
question,
a more, sorry, I want to respond to that. I'll
yeah,
look at it from a different angle. If we use Zoom and the amount of electricity that we use now, and we are able to address the systemic issue that we face, and we're able to solve the world issue, I would say it's an energy well spent. But if we use the data center to play games for 5 hours, I would say that's wasteful.
yes, right.
True.
Yeah.
So, and another perhaps a corollary to it is, this is far more energy efficient than all 20-25 of us meeting in one particular place in some town,
Correct.
and and having this conversation. So there is an upside to each of these things, but
Sure.
yes, how do we move to that regenerative kind of
Nikki, that's one way of looking
system?
at it. The other is somewhere from where Ravalji took this discussion in the beginning. I think Leon has kind of hijacked it to an urban planning sphere and domain, right? I do not disagree with what he is saying. We all agree. Of course, everyone here will agree with what he is saying of the price that one nation pays or a citizen pays, and what we could do individually and all of that. But effectively, somewhere, Leon, I'd like you to respond to the very specific question that Dr. Raval raised
Hmm.
of how we need to relentlessly, at every level of governance and of execution in governments, insist on the science of water being put in place before that, what you called that intersect, somebody else called it, Ajay said, I think, that intersect with engineering and with implementation. That is the next step, right? But especially a developed economy like yours, with what you said about the nation coming first, you need to see that this kind of understanding of the science of water is brought to play, especially by someone who is an urban planner like you. Would you want to respond to that? I know it's a longish kind of question.
Okay. I try to make it short. Singapore is actually doing very well, in my opinion, in managing our water and waste, because the infrastructure is very advanced and the management of it is very thorough. Okay, that's my first point. So if you ask me about the science part of it, right now we are looking at it from a technology, chemical, engineering point of view. We are not looking at it from a biological perspective that much. Although we will consider it, but mainly how we treat our water is by reverse osmosis, chemical, UV, etc. And the reason why we do so is because we need to accelerate the process, from waste to clean water. So I would say that's our approach at this moment.
Fair enough. Ravalji, over to you.
Yeah. Coming to you and Ajay Singh ji together. Membrane filtration, we all know what pressure it takes. The same principle was adapted from the kidney YouTube, which Ajay Singh ji has sent in his 12th standard biology book today. That Malpighian tubule blood pressure or human body blood pressure is 120 to 80 mercury, which is equivalent to 2 psi. RO membranes work at 300 psi. Do we see the energy budget? No, if the engineers had worked on the enzyme influenced membrane transfer, we could have converted the seawater to drinking water at 2 psi energy. If some of you understand the pressure to, pressure conversion from mercury to psi and all that, or kg centimeter square. Hariji, in one of our sessions, somebody was talking about 100 kg centimeter square pressure, and our blood pressure is 1/2 of, or maybe 1/6 of atmospheric pressure, which is 1 kg centimeter square. We want economy in terms of balance sheets or commerce that shows us the balance sheet, or we want to understand balance sheet in terms of nature's economy. 2 psi membrane transfer giving you pure blood versus 300, 400 psi of only salt water converted to drinking water. Come on.
Question to you, Leong, will be, I do not doubt, none of us will doubt the efficacy and the success, as you said, of systems that Singapore has put together over time. Some of our cities are also trying to do that. Bhubaneswar is one example. I think what Ravalji is saying, and some of us here endorse what he's saying, is that especially if you are an evolved system of the kind that you are in your country and city state, you must have you meaning the entire machinery of administration, must have the maturity to sort of ensure that you prioritize the science of water and not do what you're currently doing of flattening with chemicals and use of such things, because you don't have the time, as you said, to quote unquote, on the transport of the waste to places where it's sort of treated again. So if there is a way they understand it and bring some inspiring, even if isolated, models of how to use science at that intersect of engineering and implementation and design, I think it will then be taken by other cities across the world.
Okay, to answer your question, I would say that definitely there's a science element in what we are doing now. It may not be perfect. There's a lot of technology that we have considered, and definitely we are using the one that is most appropriate for a small island, for 6.5 million population. We have to understand this context, but because we are talking about density, we are talking about urban infrastructure. Given a choice, if we have a lot of land, of course, then you can start to look at a different system. I know that a lot of cities, they can leverage on, system that tap on the nature forces, using the lake, the river, etc. So those are the things that, technically speaking, scientifically speaking, they are applicable. But from an urban context point of view, I must say that there are limitations. So, so the science part of it, I think that we need to understand the science is one thing, the application of science is another.
Yes.
So that's my response.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Okay. Satish Chandra, I think you wanted to say something. You had turned on your video for some time. But do you want to? Yes, please.
No, thanks for the very interesting session. So I mean, though I'm not into water, I'm more into waste, but I could see the parallels of, the whole, this thing, the challenge which we are facing. I think it's basically, I think the world over, the challenges are similar, whether it is solid waste or, wastewater treatment. We're all trying to, I think, go from a linear model of working, take, make, waste, to, how we can get this into a circularity, the regenerative circular, this thing. So I could see a lot of parallels between what I am interested in doing in waste versus what is being done by water professionals. And also, this is, I think, Singapore's story is also very interesting. Though we can use science to kind of seemingly solve the problem per se, but the long-term implications of that, I think, is the the question mark, how sustainable it is and stuff like that. Yeah, that's where I learned. Thank you.
Yeah, I agree with you. That's why I said, although it seems to be successful now, I'm always questioning without, fossil fuel, natural gas, etc., to support such machine, whether it would be sustainable. And I share this with Mr. Hari. I'm actually looking at other system. There's one book that I'm very interested in, which is called the Humanoid. Humanoid is actually, the author is Joseph Jenkins. He's based in United States. Basically, he's saying that the toilet system requires no water. And he has been practicing that for the past 3 decades. So he's basically using the cover materials, to manage the feces and turn that into new soil without any water. And his philosophy is that feces and water shall never come together, because
Yeah.
when they come together, it becomes a health hazard. So I agree with him, but I'm always thinking, so how do we apply that in high density city like Singapore or Hyderabad, etc.? So those are the things that I think we can explore. Yeah.
In fact, Apurva Shah here, reminded me of what Ravalji had told him earlier, some time ago, of how sanitation is not about water at all. And that's what even Joseph Jenkins is saying. In fact, what you sent to me, I shared in the group, and which you will be joining soon. And Ravalji also responded to how Joseph Jenkins' idea is lies at the mother source with some other ideas that he has been discussing. Ravalji, we are now at close to 90 minutes. You and Nikki have to decide what you have gained and what you think we should be doing. And with the Professor Dr. Vasanthi Kachi there, maybe you want to see how you want to steer this. Over to you.
In my view, there is nothing like wastewater, if you understand basics right. If water had certain phosphates, nitrates, this salt, etc., in lake it is waste. But in my soup, chicken soup or lentil soup or rasam that you offer me, it's all beautiful. It gives me energy. The point is, system has its own limitations to exploit a given environment. As long as we stay within that limitation, everything is fine. And if we stay within limitations, we don't need anything. But to understand what are limitations, we need understanding. If I take mutton soup, it's a wastewater if you see EPA report or CPCB report. So what we do to the nature, that adds a waste.
Hanji, Ajit Seshadri, you must thank you for being here. Ajit ji, please, over to you.
Good evening, Dr. Lieutenant Long. See, I am a seafarer, and we have lot of problems with barnacles. They are there on the ship's surfaces of the hull. They are there on the lot of sea chest, lot of pipelines, and many other surfaces, giving lot of problems on heat transfer, the ship's movement, and many other say factors. So, you have any experiences as to how these things can be remedied naturally by using your method of the marine species to eat up the barnacles? Thank you. Thank you very much. Sir, he has got my question.
I think so. Leon, do you want to respond to that? Have you got the drift of what he's asking, or we can leave it to Ravalji or anyone else?
Okay. I just let you know, I've looked at this issue with my friends when we did a project. It's called, it's an idea project. And we look at barnacle and we say that why nature create this thing called barnacles. Okay, definitely it's part of the natural cycle and all that. And they actually clean our seawater, just like mussel, etc. It's just that human created this thing called shit and they actually attach to it. So that's my response. I have no answer, but I'm just saying that we sometimes have to look at nature. Why there's this thing called barnacle? All right. That's my reaction.
I get the meaning. But
Yeah.
in lot of big heat exchangers, because of barnacles being coated, we have problem of heat exchange, problem of either cooling or heating, and barnacles being coated on the ship hull reduces the speed of the ship, by nearly around 25 to 30%, and the ship has to be dry docked. Say whenever the ship is dry docked, all that barnacles are scraped, and of course the dry dock takes all the barnacles, whatever is the deposit received from the hull, they put it to as a raw ingredient in the cement industry. They go to the cement industry and they are crushed and added with making of the cement. So that is okay, but during the passage, it gives a lot of problems. So if you have any solutions for these things, naturally based solution, which can remedy or which can reduce the coating, it can help a lot on the ships and ships systems. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I think he has already responded. We'll leave it there, Ajit, for now.
Okay. Thank you very much,
But
sir.
very useful, very unique dimension you have thrown. I know that there has been a challenge with the hull and the bottom of the ship and so on, but today you explained it very well. Nikki, over to you. Yes, sir, Nikki. Are you there? Okay. Ramji, you have to.
Today, somebody posted in our group
Yeah.
that acidity will favor the shale growth and barnacle shale. That's not true. Acidic ocean waters will decalcify these structures. Just the opposite of what is posted. Because basic chemistry, barnacles or mussels cannot change. Number one. Sandra Postel, I quoted nearly 5 years ago on this platform. Mussels and some of the nudibranchs, mollusks they have adapted to 0.2 ppm dissolved oxygen level.
Right.
And to each mussel can purify 1 liter per hour, and a 4-inch mussel can purify 4 liters per hour. So if you create a bed with million oysters or million mussels, you have 1 million into 4 liters into 24 hours without energy, without external, and that is a natural system. Natural based system is a very complex and serious terminology, sir. Every NGO is throwing it as at the drop of a hat. That's not what it is. Okay. Now, coming to energy that Ajay Singh ji said, we have a chapter on food to energy because microbes also need energy. It's not just prerogative of humans. When it comes to electric power, we have prioritize ourselves, but an electric eel can throw away a horse within hundredths of a second. And that energy we don't know. We only know the energy that comes through the turbine.
Got it.
Ramji,
if you don't mind.
No, fine, I understand. There will be a series of chapters. I requested, but not a single query was sent to this forum. Now also, if members are motivated enough, because without inquiry, there is no solution.
Okay, that's a good concluding note for today. Nikki, and you can work on that. You can send some message of this kind on the group, Ramji. I will also include Leong. Yeah, yes, please.
Questions will come from members.
Yeah.
Don't worry about how elementary or how.
I got it. Fair enough. I agree with you. So let's see how it evolves. I mean, I leave it since both of you. I mean, I'm very glad that you thought you will curate a series like this. I don't know. Do you? We will. I'm sure you will talk about how you will want to take the next step, what the next discussion will be, and when it will be, and so on. It will be one of the Thursdays into the future. Nikki, if you're still around here, I can see you're here, but you're I think muted or you're having some challenge. You could have your last word, or we can close now. Nikki? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, he is not responding just now. We will close here. Thank you so much, Ravalji, for today. And we will start once again. Thanks, Leong. I know it's pretty late for you. It must be 9 past.
I enjoyed the session. Thanks a lot. Thanks for inviting.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Thank you, Ajay Singh. Thank you, everybody. Okay. Thank you, Ramji, for being here. Yes. And we will take this up. I will send the recording to all of us to see if we can digest, analyze, assimilate, and then see how we share the next step, as Ravalji is saying. Yeah. Wonderful. Thanks. Thank you, sir, Tarun. Yeah. And Tarun will possibly, come up. He's presenting on something very interesting. He says he wants to present on wastewater enters a new era. He wants to talk about it in the next session. We will come back to you. Thank you so much, Tarun.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, bye.
Bye. Bye.
Bye. Bye. Namaskar.
Namaskar. Thank you.